or somebody. All right, awesome. Thank you. Can people see my slides here?
Yes, you're good.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us today. This is the presenter/moderator, but mostly presenter webinar for the National Monitoring Conference that is in Green Bay this year, March 10th through 14th. I am the EPA co-lead, co-planner for the conference. And you'll hear from me, and then you'll hear from Devin Moore from Avanti, and you may or may not hear from Kristen Ferry from Tetra Tech. She lost her voice, unfortunately. So I think you'll mostly hear from me and Devin, and then maybe some conference planning committee members will chime in too, just to give some more information if needed. So we're doing this webinar today. We're also doing it on the 20th, if you have colleagues that aren't able to make it today. And then if you know of anybody that didn't get the invite to this, let us know and we can get them invited to the one on the 20th. Or as you can see, we're also recording this meeting. So we'll post this recording to the conference website and people can watch it there through a YouTube link. So I just wanted to start off by saying that we really appreciate your participation. Oh, I just saw that message. Are most people able to see the presentation?
I
know I
can see
got it.
no problem. Gregory, I'd say leaving and rejoining.
Thanks. Cool. All right. Well, I'll just continue on. But I just wanted to say that I appreciate everyone's patience as we are navigating this conference. We are in unprecedented times here, so we've had quite a bit of cancellations, but we really appreciate everybody that is still planning on coming, and we are trying to get you all information as quickly as possible, like who's going to be in your session, who's presenting, but it's somewhat of a challenge with the cancellation. So again, we just really appreciate your patience right now. All right, so here is the agenda. We'll go over some Whova basics, the oral presentation format, why and how to record your presentation, poster presenters. Then we'll have a few demos from Devin on 508 compliance and how to upload your presentation or whatever materials you'd like to upload onto Whova. And then we will touch on moderator guidelines. But we will also be hosting a moderator webinar. So like I said, this is mostly for presenters today, but it is good that moderators are here. If you're out there, it's good that you can see kind of what we're asking of presenters, so you can kind of help everybody with those tasks that we are asking of them. But we are going to send out the moderator webinar ASAP. It hasn't gone out yet though, so don't worry if you haven't received it. All right, so Whova basics. So the Whova is the virtual conference platform. So if you participated in 2023 or at the conference before that, it is the same platform. So you are likely familiar with it. Anybody who registers for the conference will have their own Whova link, and everybody has a customizable profile, so they can upload documents, they can upload photos, they can edit their information on there. It's all personalized, so you can add in your biographical information, etc. So you must be registered for the conference to get a Whova link. And then if you're a presenter, you can edit your abstracts. We've received a lot of questions about editing abstracts. So if you submitted an abstract and since your submittal, you want to change some things in it, you'll be able to do that on Whova. And then you can also post your pre-recorded presentation, which we'll get into a little bit here. And you can add up to 2 supplementary documents. There's also a chat function, so you can chat with other conference attendees, other presenters, and there's networking capabilities. And what we are asking of you all, if you could, if you're an oral or poster presenter, to enter your biographical information into Whova by February 28th. So the oral presentation in-person format is there will be 4 in-person presentations per session. There are 15 minutes each, and there's 5 minutes at the end of each presentation for questions. So each session is 90 minutes long. And then there's also 10 minutes at the end of the session for questions with the group. And then we are asking that everyone uploads their PowerPoint slides onto the OneDrive link that you likely got from Devin or Kristen by February 28th. If you did not receive the OneDrive link in the presenter guidelines, let us know. Those presenter guidelines are also on the conference website. But just, yeah, let us know. We can send that OneDrive link to you. It's important to get your PowerPoint slides up because they need to be preloaded onto the laptops prior to the conference. So this is why we ask this of you all.
One tidbit. The link is in the speaker guidelines that is already on the website. So it did not come directly from us. It's within that document. And if you can't find that document, that's up on the website.
Thanks, Devin. Yeah, if somebody wouldn't mind just pasting those presenter guidelines into the chat, that would be really helpful.
Sure.
All right, so we are asking you all if you're able to pre-record your presentation, and there are a few reasons why. In general, it increases accessibility, it broadens the audience and impact of research. So it's a way to get your presentation out as far and as wide as possible. So we'll have virtual participants again this year. So they will not be really seeing anything live throughout the conference. Live streaming every single room is very, very costly. So we do have some rooms that will be live streamed, but the concurrent sessions will not be. So if you pre-record your session, whoever is attending the conference virtually, or your presentation, whoever is attending the conference virtually will be able to watch your presentation. And then also maybe they are attending in person, but they were in a different session. There's lots going on there. I believe 7 different session rooms. So if someone wants to see your presentation, but they have to be somewhere else at the same time, they'd be able to go on Whova and see your presentation. Another reason is maybe you get sick, unfortunately, or maybe travel issues. We all know there's travel issues right now. So maybe you plan to come, but you weren't able to actually come. This would be a great way to still get your presentation out there. We encourage virtual attendance because it reduces environmental impacts. I know we're all on board for that. And then your pre-recorded presentation would be available to all attendees up to 3 months post-conference. And then if it's a really good presentation, it can be nominated for an NWQMC sponsored open access webinar. So we have webinars that we're always looking for great presentations to ask to come and present to the group. So one thing we wanted to mention is branding. So the National Monitoring Conference does not endorse specific products or services. So if you have, a product that you use, it's best to talk about it generally. In the past, we've had people kind of explain that they used a product and it's unfortunately come off as a quote unquote poorly presented commercial. So I know nobody wants that for themselves. And we just ask that you all just speak generally about any products, so it doesn't seem like you are endorsing any specific products. All right. Oral presentations at the conference. So once the conference starts, this will kind of be how things go for you. You'll arrive to your designated session room 15 minutes ahead of your session with the other session presenters. So there will be 4 of you, and then there will also be a moderator. There will be a Windows computer with MS PowerPoint provided in the room. So you'll not be able to use your own computer to present. And the presentation must be Windows compatible. So again, the computer will be preloaded with your PowerPoint slides that you provide us. And we also suggest that, just in case there's any sort of technical difficulties, that you bring a USB flash drive with your presentation on it, just in case. And then there likely will not be high-speed internet, so this is not something you should rely on, downloading your presentation or, presenting from something like Microsoft Teams. That's not an option, unfortunately. So, and we also suggest that you keep your presentation generally simple with slides without a lot of animation or really any animation or video or anything like that. It's just slides with information. And photos and whatever, but nothing too complicated, just to prevent technical difficulties. And then you'll introduce yourself, and the moderator will give a very brief introduction, but you can provide any other information about yourself. And then we suggest to avoid jargon and acronyms in your presentation so that it's as inclusive as possible, so everybody that's there can follow along easily. Oral presenters, in-person questions. So there will be, 5 minutes at the end of your presentation for questions. So some just general conference suggestions. Please repeat the questions before answering them. Use a microphone at the podium to repeat the question, and when answering questions, if someone is interrupted, please revisit their question and stick to your time limits. So the moderator will be reminding you of how much time you have left, but just make sure you're keeping an eye on how much time you have, so that way you don't run into anybody else's presentation. And then don't forget virtual participants. So you can check in on Whova to see if you have any questions there and interact with people through Whova. All right. So asynchronous presenters. So these are the virtual asynchronous presentations. So you'll pre-record these. They won't be live during the conference, but anybody with the Whova app can log on to Whova and see these presentations. So again, we ask that you stick to the 15 to 20-minute presentation length just for consistency. It's okay if it goes a little over, it's not a big deal, but just, for the format of the conference, that length is preferred. Your video should show slides prominently with audio and should be recorded in an MP4 or a YouTube link. Presentations our presenters are not required to be online at the same time as the in-person session. So we'll show you, there's basically there will be a slide with the in-person presentations and then the associated asynchronous presentations at the beginning of a in-person session. But you're not required to be online at the same time as that in-person session if you're an asynchronous presenter. So you're encouraged to check Whova frequently for any questions about your asynchronous presentation, and they are due on Whova by February 28th. If you are planning on attending the conference in person, please attend the session which your talk would have been in. So if you're, you have an asynchronous presentation associated with a session, like I was just mentioning, try to attend that session. So that way the moderators can kind of point you out. And if anybody wants to ask you questions about your presentation, you'll be in the room. All right, poster presenters. So For in-person poster presenters, it's strongly encouraged to upload a PDF or short video of your poster onto Whova. Well, both would be great. That way, there's there's a PDF of your poster and you can do a little talk about it and explain it as if someone were walking up to your poster in person. The poster size must be no larger than 3.75 feet by 6 feet wide. These very specifics they're in our presenter guidelines, so you don't have to remember this size, but just pointing it out. And they will be displayed in the exhibition hall. There is only really one time that you're required to be at your poster, which is Wednesday from 1 to 2. Posters can be set up starting 7 a.m. on Tuesday and taken down no later than 12 p.m. Thursday. And then if you are an asynchronous poster presenter, you are required to upload a PDF of your poster. Let's see here. So if you're planning on being by your poster at a certain time, you can post on Whova and say, hey, I'll be standing by it at this time, so people know to come and chat with you about it. And then posters are organized by session number, abstract ID, and presenter name, which will be attached to each available poster space. So please use the space where your name and abstract ID appear once you arrive. So it looks like there are a few questions I could answer quickly. So it looks like I think I just answered the recorded. So February 28th for Lindsay. So that's when we would like the pre-recorded presentations to be up. And then let me see here. Do you record the presentations during the conference for participants who cannot join the session, or we have to pre-record the presentation ourselves before the conference? So we are asking you all to pre-record, so that way the virtual attendees that aren't in person can watch your presentation prior. We are planning on recording as well during the conference. This is our first time attempting this, and we're doing this through Zoom. So a presentation that you record on your desktop will be likely the highest quality that will be offered, and there could be technical difficulties at the actual conference. So this is pre-recording. I hope I answered your question. Anybody else? And there are actually FAQs at the end, so we may have some questions that we'll answer for you, but let's take one more. My presentation is completed, but currently going through a review process that is required before we do outside presentations. If this is not approved February 28th, that is a late submittal permissible? I imagine yes. ASAP, of course, once after February 28th, but I imagine that we can probably work with you. This would be a Kristen question.
Yes, please. If you are submitting late, please let Kristen know so that we can make sure that she has your most up-to-date presentation. So our emails will be at the end of this presentation. We can put them in the chat as well. And I will get to the pre-recorded question once I get to my Whova demo.
Cool. Can we find out when a specific presenter will present? Yes, so we are going to have an agenda with this information on it, and that'll be on Whova. In years past, we have had an agenda ready in advance of the conference, but we just have a draft right now, and with so many cancellations, it's really hard to be able to have it ready far in advance this year. So the when people will specifically be presenting will be that you will have that information. It's just it likely will not be until the day before the conference or something like that. The size of is that what you were talking about, Devin? The size of okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna switch it over to Devin now for a 508 compliance demo.
Okay, I'm going to take over the screen share.
Okay.
Okay. Should be me now, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a little PowerPoint demonstration to go through with you guys, just about how to make your PowerPoint 508. So this is for everyone who is consented to having their presentation slides posted onto the website. We ask that you make them compliant, make the PDF compliant when posting. And I understand that the Adobe 508 is kind of locked behind a paywall. You have to have the professional version of Adobe to do that. So if you don't have that, we request that you just put all the steps in through PowerPoint to be able to make it easiest for us on our end. So I find my mouse. Oops. Okay. So PowerPoint makes it quite easy to go through accessibility, and the accessibility panel is available in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And so this is our accessibility assistant. And I have some errors that I've specifically put in this PowerPoint so that we can go through this together. So we're going to be talking about alternative text, which is the giving pictures associated words. We're going to talk about the reading order, which is how this screen reader will go through the presentation. We're going to talk about color contrast, best way to use links, how to make a table, and then how to save as a PDF properly. So to start with alt text, you can do that by right-clicking on your picture, and we're going to click on View Alt Text. So it pulls it up in here. For affiliations, which is what I've just clicked on, I understand that most people have templates that have their affiliation on every single slide. You don't need to put a description for every single one. We just want to put it for our top, for the first one that shows up. So we're going to have it here, and then we can mark the rest of them as decorative. And this will make it so that the screen reader skips over them. So I want to just point out that the alt text flag will not trigger if you have alt text that, like, any words in this box will not trigger then PowerPoint saying it's missing. So it's possible that a picture that you've grabbed will already have a description in here that's not very accurate, or it could just say description auto-generated. So you want to check all of your alt text just to make sure that it's right. The best alt text to go through is something that is descriptive, and it kind of gives you an explanation of why you've included this photo. So for this, we could just say a boat on water. That is an acceptable term, but a better way to do this would be to say an aerial view of this research vessel on this body of water specifically. While we're on alt text, alternative text is this description of what the photo is. This is read by a screen reader for those who cannot see the photos. So it's like a descriptive entry for the photo. Yes, it is on purpose that I'm not in presentation mode. Okay, so moving on to our reading order. We can get to that through our accessibility tab. Once we've clicked here, this opens up. We then go to reading order pane. So it is necessary that all slides need a title and body. And so this one is currently missing the title. So this is being flagged for us, missing slide title. So to fix that, we would just put in our title and obviously remove it from this text. So I'd also like to point out that our reading order is a little funky. So for this one, if we look at our reading order tab, it goes our title, but hold on, where was I? It goes our title, and then our next one is this third box, and then it reads it as the second one. And so to be able to fix that reading order, we would just drag and drop to go 1, 2, 3, and this is the order that the screen reader reads it in. Okay, so move on to color contrast. I'd like to note that Microsoft does not always pick up color contrast. As you see, it's not being flagged here, even though this yellow text is extremely hard to read. So I would recommend avoiding all yellow text, whether it's on a black background or a white background. The best way to make it just good old black on white. And the Microsoft theme colors are also not all, like the light blue with the white is not a very good contrast, but like usually Microsoft theme colors are not a good example of good contrast. So I would like to just also point out to be mindful if you have images in your, if you have text in your images or text on top of your images, like if you look at the background of this, it's a little messy, it's hard to read. So the best way to avoid that is just to like either move the text or move the picture so that there's nothing in the background. There's now not as much complication happening with the text. Okay, so then to move on to the tables, I do recommend not using any tables as they're very complicated for the screen readers to read. But all tables must have the same number of rows and columns. So like this, where we have a header for these two, has been flagged. Use of merge cells, as well as we're missing a header. So that's my example. These two have been flagged. So we would just insert our header, and we would avoid having we would unsplit this cell, or just not make it like that in the first place. So then this would just be okay. So then has been resolved. It's a little hard for me to read the comments right now, so I will look at those all at the end. Okay, so moving on to links, we want links to be as descriptive as possible. And so that can either be, for an example, just describing what the link is linking to in your sentence, or you can leave it as the URL. Links do need to be distinguishable, and that is like normally they are automatically underlined and blue. And then please avoid using click here because that is not clear what that is linking to. Okay, and then lastly, I would like to go through the proper way to save all of this as a PDF. So as you know, we go to File, and then we're going to want to click Save As. So this Save As Adobe PDF is, we kind of lose a lot of the metadata that we've just put in by making this 508 compliant. So we need to do the Save As, More Options, and then we're going to go to a PDF here. And that is the proper way to go ahead and save these. Oops, and it'll open right on up. Okay. So that is in conclusion for the 508. Stop sharing really quick so I can look at these comments. Okay. The 508 compliance is relevant to those who have consented to having a PDF on the conference website. So it doesn't matter whether that is your presentation slides or your poster. If you've consented to having it up on the website, please make it 508 compliant. The accessibility options are on the bottom left-hand corner. And all of this is also in the presentation, the presenter guidelines document as well. A screen reader is a tool that people who have differing abilities or they're unable to see properly use to read the screen to them. So it's that electronic voice that you sometimes hear when you've hit too many buttons when you're trying to log into your computer. And it just allows for those who cannot see their screen to still receive the content. Sorry about the delay. Hopefully that was not confusing to anybody. And then for those who do not use MS products, I am not familiar with the LA text, so I don't know, but I'm assuming it's very similar that most things will have this accessibility checker on it. And then yes, I will try to make these slides available because it is being recorded. So you'll be able to watch this again. The text appears first. Okay, so I'll go share my screen again. Sorry, 1 second, and I can show where the, so for me, the accessibility investigation is down in the bottom left-hand corner. If it's not, so like if I close out of all of this, then this accessibility tab disappears. But this always stays down here, this accessibility investigate in the bottom left-hand. Usually we'll say good to go if you don't have any issues. If that is not there, I believe you can just search it. I've got my things in the way right now, but I think you could just search accessibility. And the checker is the best option, is the first option. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, is there anything else? Would you plotted? Okay, so for your graphs or your map figures, the best way to do it would be just to give a description of what that graph is describing. You don't need to say there's a dot at this intersection. You'll say this plot describes XYZ and the results are ABC, that kind of thing. It doesn't need to be, this is my y-axis and this is my z-axis. And then, yes, all we do is ask you to just try and attempt, and we can take care of the rest. Where to check to see for you? That was in the consent to having our presentation on the website was on the Google form that Kristen sent out. I do not know how to check to see, but I'm sure that we could check back in once we're ready to post those to make sure that nothing has changed for people's responses. Okay, I think that's everything.
Could you go over how you maintain the metadata as you save as PDF again? I missed what you did there.
Yes, I can. Okay, it's really you're just saving normally. It's just avoiding that one-click save. So we're going to go to File and we're going to click Save As. We want to avoid Save as Adobe PDF. And then, I mean, you could do it here, but I do always like to just go to more options to make sure everything is saving in the right spot. We changed PowerPoint to PDF here. And so this is the metadata here. Because Lily created this for EPA, I cannot actually change this information. But this is the author that would be connected to the PDF. And then the title slide, what is actually your title, is the title that's connected to the PDF. You can go into options for more. I find that the PDFA compliant is not necessary to click, but this is like, you'll make sure this is your options to see. That's a little complicated. We don't need to go do that. You just have to make sure you are saving as a PDF this way.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else?
Thanks, Devin. Did you want to hop right into Whova, or should I do?
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so let me find the email that I'm looking for. Yes. Okay, so Whova speaker links all went out today, I think around noon. So you should have received this email. If you did not, please contact me. Or if you did receive it and you don't think you should have gotten it because you're no longer a speaker, also please let me know. There's been a lot of fluidity about who is talking when and who's taking over for whom. So just reach out to me if there's any confusion about that. So you're going to use this email to update any of the information associated with you or your session. So you're going to click on speaker form, and that then opens up this thing. This it'll open up this speaker guide. And so this is my example. This is my speaker link. So everything's going to be pre-populated with my information that we'll go through as an example. So if you have participated in this conference in previous events or previous years, or if you have used Whova before and your email is still the same, this information will be pre-populated for you. Otherwise, you can go ahead and update it or fill it in. You can add your profile picture if you so choose. So this information will help other people find you. And then your associated sessions should also already be pre-populated. So this is my test session, for example, but this should be your abstract title as well as your abstract text. I do have all of the concurrent session abstracts uploaded to Whova, but I have not yet gotten the poster abstracts and the panel and workshop descriptions uploaded. So if you open up your link and see that that's missing, you can either just give me till the end of the week to get that information uploaded, or you can go ahead and do it yourself or update it as needed. So this section for our documents and our video is where we're going to add our attachments. So the upload document is a good place for you to add a PDF of your poster, or it's a good place for moderators to add any information they'd like for their attendees. And then this recorded video is where you're going to upload your presentation recording. So we're going to click on this, and the best option is to upload a file from your local computer. But as to answer the question earlier, the maximum video size is 300 megabytes, which I understand is not that large. So it might be beneficial to then upload your video to YouTube to have that as a link, and then there are no size restrictions on that. You do have to have a YouTube account, but there are privacy restrictions that you can make it so that nobody on just willy-nilly YouTube can see your video. So for an example, I'm going to go ahead and upload a video from my computer. So for this naming convention, you want to have an abbreviated version of your talk title and then your first name and last name. So we can do test video Devin Moore. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose this basic presentation to give an example. So all of these do need to be MP4s. So as I have uploaded quite a small video just so that it doesn't take very long, but this can take a long time to upload the presentation. So don't be stressed about that. You can just leave it running and walk away, go do something else, and come back and it'll be uploaded. So we'll just give this a couple more seconds. And then there'll be a couple ways to verify that your video has been uploaded properly. And the first one is going to be this success that pops up right here. And then I can show you the second one in a second. So the video has been uploaded successfully, and we can go on to the next section. Okay, so the next three sections are just to help you interact with conference attendees. And so these are just information that you can provide if you'd like to. It's up to you, not necessary for any of this. This social media is to help you connect with other people, or if they'd like to reach out to you through these. And then lastly, it'll ask if you want to be on a distinguished speaker list. That is not necessary. We're going to go ahead and say, I'm not a robot, and save. So thank you. Your information has successfully been submitted. You're going to get a confirmation email saying that this has all been uploaded to Whova. If you need to change any of this information in the future or update your abstract again, you'll need to go through that link as well. You cannot do it through this side of the platform. So currently this is not published, but it is, I believe it's accessible for those who have the link, but it's not accessible widely. But just to show you, to go to our test session, which I put on Friday, that is going to be here. So we can see that it now has a green video. That means that there's an associated video, and boom, there it is. And this is the location that people will then communicate with you about this presentation. So those who are only asynchronous can ask questions this way, like those who are only virtual attendees, and that should pop up in your message. So that is it for my Whova demonstration. Let me look at the comments. Okay, so yes, the Whova is not published yet. So we plan to, that'll be about probably, I want to like 2 weeks before the conference. And we'll send an email out once that's all live and how to create your account. Alyssa's put in a good point that we recommend bookmarking your speaker link so you can access it again, because that is the only way to change things on your session. So you don't want to lose it because you'll have to be using that link next time. I don't understand Lance's question. Should we be locking down editing in PDFs upon conversion? Is there a good way to do that? I don't know how to answer that question, unfortunately. I'm sorry. You're reaching your recording. Okay, I think that is all. Does anybody else have any other questions?
It looks like there's a question about the this person's Adam's poster showing up 3 times in Whova. Is that just the
Yes.
way that, okay.
That is, so the way that I have the poster session set up is that your poster is associated with a session that you mentioned when you're submitting your abstract. It is then also located in the poster session that happens on Tuesday around noonish, and then it's also listed in the poster session that happens at the end of the day on Wednesday. So yes, there it is on. It's just to help people find it, to give it more visibility.
All right. I'm gonna switch back over here. Well, thank you, Devin, for the 508 compliance and Whova demonstrations. If there are any more questions about 508 compliance, there's a lot of information in our presenter guidelines. And in general, everyone should check those out. There's a lot of information on every aspect of what we're covering today. All right. So I'm gonna keep moving here, and then we can revisit some of these questions after I go through these last few slides. So you can access Whova from the provided link that Devin sent out. And then your presentation must be MP4 or YouTube, like she went over for uploading, and the other ways that you can record by YouTube if it's too big to upload by MP4. Any other file types, including PowerPoint show, will not work. You do this via your presenter profile, where you can also update your bio and photo of yourself. You click add video, select appropriate video, and you can upload other documents such as handouts, online articles, or create a poll. And then make sure you click save at the bottom. All right, so I know this was called a presenter moderator instructions webinar. Just wanted to touch on a few things associated with moderators, but we do plan on having a moderator webinar on the 25th, which we have not sent out an invite for again. So don't worry if you haven't gotten it. But just a few things here. If moderators are here, thank you for coming. It's great for you to know, again, what presenters are supposed to do, but here's some information for you all. So your role is to become familiar with all of your session abstracts via Whova. You can communicate with presenters in person, asynchronous, and poster. We are going to give you the contact information for your presenters ASAP. That we haven't sent that around yet, again, because of cancellations and holes that have needed to be filled. And just to prevent any confusion, we didn't want to send out information too early and then have to backtrack. So some reminders or things you should remind your presenters of is to review the presenter guidelines, which are on the website. And there's a link that we shared in the chat. Review and update their information on Whova, submit their presentation slides to OneDrive. That's required, and then pre-record and submit their presentations via Whova. That is just, we really would love for you all to pre-record. So moderators during the conference, you should ensure that you're comfortable with the lighting and technology in the room. This is, you don't need to be, a technical expert. We actually have technical experts that will be there helping you out if you run into any issues, but just make sure you're comfortable. And if you're not, those technical experts will help you out, make sure you are. You'll record the session via Zoom. This is a new thing this year, and we're going to touch on that on the webinar on the 25th. You'll introduce yourself. You'll highlight the asynchronous presentations and or posters associated with your session, as well as go over the 4 presentations that are at your in-person session. You'll introduce your in-person presenters. You'll be responsible for timing and moderating the discussion. You'll ensure flow of presentations from one presenter to the next. So you'll just, and they'll be provided flashcards to make sure that you let presenters know that their time is passing and how much time they have left. And you should be prepared with a question for each presentation to spur discussion, just in case there aren't any questions from the audience. All right, so here's an example of, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I believe this slide will be up in the room before the session starts, and it has the 4 presentations, the in-person presentations. It also has 2 asynchronous talks that people should log on to Whova and check out. And it has, the session number, the name, everything like that, the moderator, the time, date. So this is just an example of the format of one session. So here's some FAQs. This is, I watched the pre-recorded or the recorded webinar from last time, and these were some, it seemed like popular questions from 2023. So I just want to cover these few questions, and then we can roll to other questions. So one of my presenters did not show up. Should I rearrange my presentations? This is specifically for moderators. We ask that you leave the sessions in the structure that they are in. And this is because someone may be hopping from room to room within those, those 5 minutes during the questions. Maybe they want to jump over to another room and see the session or the next presentation that's coming up. So we should leave everything in the structure that it is on the agenda. What if I have technology issues in the room? Like I said, there will be these technical experts that will be jumping around from room to room to make sure everything's going smoothly. And they can provide any assistance if anything goes wrong. One of my presenters cannot have their presentation recorded. What should I do? Presentations that cannot be recorded will be placed at the end of the session. So the Zoom recording will be stopped before those types of presentations. Right, so if you have any general questions, you can reach out to me. Any Whova or 508 compliance questions, you can reach out to Devin, and any agenda issues, you can reach out to Kristen. But we can open it up to other questions if anybody has any. Feel free to chime in. All right. Crickets. Okay, can you please recommend the easiest way to record your PowerPoint presentation, create an MP4 file? So in those presenter guidelines, there's information on this, kind of like step by step. But yeah, I don't know if Devin, you feel confident enough to chime in about that, or anybody else.
So I think the easiest way would be to either use Zoom or Teams. PowerPoint does allow you to, it's got this record function that does now record to a MP4. So I would say those are the 3 easiest. PowerPoint is pretty nice because you can pause recordings in between each slides, but that file is very large. And then what's nice about Zoom is that if you'd like to add captions, that's a very easy download to add alongside your recording. So if you've got access to those are what I recommend.
Yeah, in general, it is a good idea to review those presenter guidelines. I know I've brought it up a few times, but yeah, things like adding captions so that there's text along with your presentations is highly encouraged. So that it's good reminders in there to just like skim it over and make sure that you're checking in on all those things like that. Presenter cannot attend. Can they record and have their shown during the presentation slot? Unfortunately, we are not showing any pre-recorded presentations during the conference live. That's just that's not something that we are doing because it would just, I think, open up a whole can of worms. So yes, that is unfortunately a no.
I fixed my typos.
Calling you out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, and if anybody knows of anybody that didn't get an invite to either of these webinars, please let us know and we'll get it their way. And this is also, again, being recorded, so people will have access to the recording from the website. Looks like we got another question. Should poster presenters expect to get bumped to oral since there are many cancellations? So if you said that you were willing, I would say no, not from poster to oral presentation. If you're asynchronous, that is something that if you said, I'm coming anyway, this was on your registration form. If you're coming anyway and you'd be willing to present in person, and an opportunity opened up for that person to present in person, Kristen likely has reached out. But I don't think that applies to posters unless somebody else would like to correct me.
No, what you said is correct.
Thanks, Kristen. So yeah, the full conference schedule, ideally it would be ready now, but with cancellations, it's been constantly changing. We are going to have that up. That'll be on Whova for sure, once we're at the conference, of course. I don't know how far in advance. I don't think it'll be posted on the website, but it'll be on Whova, and I think
Yeah, Alyssa said earlier 1 to 2 weeks roughly before the conference.
Okay.
So that is fast approaching.
Yes, it is. Thanks for your patience with that. Alrighty. Well, yeah, feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any more questions. And thank you for joining. And this again, recording will be on the website if you need to reference it. For example, for Devin's demos that she did or any other information. All right, see you all soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.